Welcome everybody to Season 1, Break Up the Daily Grind. And if you are just joining us, you just caught us just in time because this is like the second to the last episode in Season 1.
Dang.
Yeah, this is number 29.
Sweet.
Yep. So, and just so you don't get too disappointed, everybody, that we do plan on having a Season 2.
We got renewed.
Yeah, we got renewed. I didn't realize we got canceled the first time, but we're renewed. We are going to take off a couple months for research and recording and all that good stuff.
All the editing.
Yeah, editing
and
stuff. But you're always more than welcome to go back and listen to the first 30.
Yep.
Because we're going to episode 30 first.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always go back, listen to them all over again, scratch your head and think, why did I waste all that time?
And don't worry. Still a few more to look forward to as well.
Yeah, we're hoping that with this next season coming up, I'm excited for it. I feel like we're going to be able to get a little more diverse content, I hope. And of course, if you, the listeners, would send us some topic ideas that we can debate and roll over, because we can't think of everything. So you can email that stuff to us at mo9studios@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or you're more than welcome, and please, by all means, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, comment, share, like.
Follow.
You know how that works. That helps us help you. So, Corey, you know what?
Ben.
Yep. Okay, there we did. I said I forgot to introduce ourselves for the people that didn't know. But I guess we just did that, didn't we? So we're on a roll.
Yeah.
Downhill, fast.
Oof.
Yeah. Watch out for that stump at the bottom. How's life treating you, Corey?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good.
Did you get a nap today before you showed up?
I did.
I don't like you.
I'm not fully awake still. I'm never fully awake, though.
Well, there you go. I'm never fully awake. I'm never fully asleep either. So, and I had to laugh. 6 o'clock is my normal shift start, right?
Yeah.
But today's my day off.
Mm-hmm.
Superintendent texted me, I don't know, 5 minutes to 6.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm looking for people to work tonight. I got one finger, and it's just for you, buddy.
I was going to say, I bet you've never ignored a text message so fast in your life.
Yeah, came up, Jason. He says, we're looking for Blue Dock unloaders. Goodbye. I'm not even. I'll let you think that I'm thinking about it by not answering.
There you go. Sorry. I was gonna come in, but it was already
past
4 hours
o'clock,
past shift.
Yeah.
So I don't think you want me now, but
maybe I should wait till about midnight and text him back. Say, hey, I just got your text. You want me to show up?
You still need somebody.
Hey, I tell you what, hold those trailers. I'll be there tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Oh, that little guy, he doesn't have a sense of humor, so I think I'll just let it
That's
go.
funny. That's funny. That's a darn shame. That was a good one.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to start those trailers. Or better yet, I can wait till tomorrow when I get there at like 5:15. Say, hey, I just seen your text. Where do you want me to start?
Hey, I'm here. Where do you want me? What dock you want me to go to?
Just send those Blue Dock trailers over to Gold. I'm right here. I'll just unload them right here.
Yeah. In fact, why don't you send them to my house really quick? I'll unload them here, and then you guys can pick up the cargo and everything. I've been hearing those work from home gigs are really good nowadays.
You mean we don't have remote controlled forklifts no more? I just got me a brand new joystick, man. I thought I was going to control that the whole time. Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to work out very well. So, at any rate, since we got completely sidetracked on that one, let's let everybody know who brought them this episode.
This episode was brought to you by DTE Energy. DTE Energy is leading the way to a cleaner, safer, and smarter energy future, empowering our internet shenanigans since we hit the record button.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we hit the record button awful lot.
We do.
So, now that the bills are paid for, if they actually paid the bills, dad jokes. Yes, we are on the dad joke bandwagon. Why? Because I'm a dad and I think it's funny. And Corey actually laughs at my stuff, which I can't figure out why, but
Pity.
you know, I know. Is that what it is? The pity laughs?
I don't know. Sometimes they're genuine laughs.
Hashtag groan. Unfortunately, though, we don't have any dedications this week.
No, not this week.
No, because our listeners are dropping the ball. Shame on you. You guys keep this up, we're going to fire all of you. Oh, wait, you're not on the payroll. Never mind. At any rate, so what we normally do is we have a dedication. We will read the dedication, and we will dedicate the following dad jokes to that person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is send us a name and a brief description. You can send us that to our email, which, if you didn't catch it the first time, it's mo9studios@gmail.com. That's the letter M, the letter O, the number 9 studios@gmail.com.
There you go.
Ready?
Ready. Or maybe I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see. The first few will determine.
No, the first 4 will determine. He's shaking his head already because he only knows there's only 4 there anyway. Okay. What does the movies The Titanic and The Sixth Sense have in common?
I don't know, but you're probably going to tell me.
Yes. Yes, I am. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
I see dead people.
Okay, that was a pretty good one. That was a pretty good one.
Well, that's all downhill from here. We might as well just call it a day. Call it done.
There you go.
Yep. I just got back from the gas station and I'm mad, right?
Right.
Because I had to pay to air up my tires. Stupid inflation. Yeah, that was terrible. Okay, maybe I can renew myself.
What I was thinking was terrible.
Oh.
That is not the punchline. It was. Never mind.
No, never mind. What do you call a dog that meditates?
Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I haven't
Don't
told
tell
you
me.
yet.
Hold on.
I haven't
Don't
told
tell
you.
me. Don't tell me. Hold on. 9, 8, 7,
6.
Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Hold on.
3.5.
Okay, I don't know. Wait, what was the joke again?
Oh my gosh. Seriously?
I'm serious. What was the
All that intermediate bull.
It was a bit.
Yeah. All that bit, you forgot it all. What do you call a dog who meditates? Aware.
Okay.
Wolf.
That doesn't make any sense.
Because when you meditate, you're aware.
Oh, that's.
You're aware of your surroundings. Damn it, Corey. Come on, man. You got to get on this.
No, that one's just bad. Ooh, that's a dumpster fire one if I've ever heard one.
I tell you what, if that doesn't make you howl at the moon, nothing will. That was a freebie, by the way. Hey, what I really want to know, though, is can a frog jump higher than a house?
I don't know.
Of course. A house can't jump.
We should just stop right here. We should just end the recording right here.
I tell you what, though. We can stop. I will definitely stop with the dad jokes from now, because that was the last one.
Oh. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was trying to save the good ones for next week.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, I did steal a couple of them from the list for next week, but I don't know what we're going to do for next week anyway, so what the hell.
True.
Okay. Well, hopefully that put a smile on your face. I know Corey's got a bald spot from scratching his head or pulling his hair out because they're so bad.
Probably both.
Probably a little bit of both. So with that out of the way, though, now we can get to some real drama.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, it just makes our day so much easier when we hear about people that are just blow our mind. Just like...
True.
What? Huh? They said what?
They did that?
I cannot believe that.
Mm-mm-mm.
So, let's go.
All right. Am I the asshole for throwing a cup of cold water on my naked husband? My...
Well, go ahead. Continue.
Okay. kind of took me out of my element, but
Well, I had to break it up somehow.
my husband has been tested for ADHD, but he doesn't have it. He has the kinds of problems that are associated with ADHD, however. He says writing lists, making a schedule, setting alarms, etc., is physically painful for him, and he'd rather just deal with occasional emergencies rather than be proactive. Hey, me too.
That makes you the asshole?
I guess I'm an asshole. The specific problem. He often forgets to push the shower diverter valve down. You know, the little rod on the tub faucet that you push down to make water fill the tub, and pull up to make the water come out of the shower. Wow. I can tell there is a lot of disdain.
Oh, I know where this was going because we used to have one. There's somebody sitting across from the table used to just do the same damn thing.
I still do that same stuff, to be honest. The thing is, I accept full responsibility as being someone who did that, but I will argue lists and making a schedule and setting alarms does not help at all, because then it's one extra thing to keep track of and one extra thing you got to maintain. Most of the time I lose the list, I forget to make the schedule, and I forget to turn the alarms on. So
I think you need alarms list to make sure you remember the alarms.
yeah, I need alarms to make alarms.
Yeah.
I need an alarm to tell me to write a list so the list can remind me to make a schedule.
And then the schedule to make sure you turn on the alarms.
Yeah.
That's just
At least twice a month, I have a very unpleasant wake up / cold shower because I turn the water on and I get a cold spray from the shower. And every time he's apologetic, and then a week or two later, it happens again. He will do better for a while, and then it slips in again. He's always telling me that he's working on it. And hasn't he been better about it lately? But somehow he's always working on it, always improving, but it never stops.
He's doing that on purpose.
Today, I had just had it. I stepped into the shower, turned it on, and had a very cold and rude awakening. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed the cup by the sink and filled it about 3 inches with cold water and walked out to where he was standing naked. He had just taken off his pajamas and was going to take a shower after mine. Without warning, while he was looking down, I held this plastic cup firmly in my hand and grasped it tightly. I jerked that in a 45-degree angle to get that cold water all over his torso and face. I told him that his apologies were worth the paper they were written on, and I was tired of listening to him congratulate himself for getting better when I had been asking for 20 years to stop doing this shit. I told him I don't accept his apologies, and the fact that it's an accident does not excuse it. I told him that from now on, every time I'm taking a cold shower, so is he. That I refuse to be a second-class citizen in my own home any longer. And if he refuses to make changes to treat me better, I will instead make changes to treat him worse. Because I will no longer tolerate this any longer. Oh, well, this is being blown way out of proportion. I'm going to continue to surprise throw a cold cup of water on him every time I get a surprise cold shower. I'm tired of asking / begging for basic respect and not getting it, with the implication that I have to put up with this forever. So Reddit, I know I'm probably an asshole, but am I a justified asshole?
Yeah, I think she's the asshole. I mean, not at first. I mean, but the rant afterwards just kind of seals the deal.
Yeah.
You know what? She could easily get a sign that hangs up in the shower. It says, push lever down.
Yep.
And just, he's got to reach for the thing to turn the water on and off. And it's right there. Like, oh, yeah. Simple as that. I mean, it still may or may not work. I don't know.
I know. Okay, I know. Like, if it's such like a big deal though, and she knows this happens all the time, why doesn't she just check it really quick before like, like she has the same problem he does. Well, it's not the same problem, but
no.
I don't know. Like
after 20 years, you'd think you'd check it every time you
yeah, especially.
She probably does for about 2 weeks, and the time she doesn't check is the time he leaves it up.
I just think it's funny because the whole post is about, I feel like after 20 years he should know better. Well, I feel like after 20 years you should also know better to check and make sure that
also figured it out.
Yeah, that the lever's down really quick. You know, you both are kind of guilty here in that regard. I would have used a different example. But I also am a little biased because I am this guy.
Well, you don't have a wife for 20 years, so who wrote that one about you?
No. I'm just saying. I know. Yeah, me personally, I would do this. I still do this type of thing.
You have done it, yeah.
You know, I'll leave like.
Well, the funny thing about those levers is when you shut the water off, they're supposed to drop.
Yeah.
Once that pressure relieves, that's supposed to drop.
Oh, okay.
So. Part of the issue is the pressure is not coming out of the shower head after he turns the water off. But she could probably take some Band-Aid or some rubber bands and wrap it around that lever.
Yeah.
So when that pressure starts getting a little light, it will pull itself down.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, wait, she did an edit.
Oh.
Question. Why don't I just check myself / why do I expect him to leave it the way I want it left?
Oh, wow. Is there an echo in here?
I don't, and she answered, she said, I don't expect him to leave it the way I want. What I expect is for him to leave things the way he found them. When he walks into the bathroom, it's pushed down. That's how I leave it. So he doesn't get blasted with cold water, but he doesn't leave things the way he found them. Instead, he often leaves the last 10 or 20% of the task for me to clean up for him.
Well, maybe she should quit pushing the lever down when she gets out of the shower.
Yeah, he'll do the opposite.
Instead of pushing the lever down, say, that's all right, I'm just going to leave it up. Oh. I mean, when the kids don't, when they're supposed to be doing dishes and don't rinse their dishes, when it's their turn to do dishes, I don't rinse mine.
There you go.
If I have to rinse their dishes, then they can rinse mine.
Rinse yours. Yep.
So instead of throwing a big old fit, just leave the lever up. He'll learn, or you don't have to go out of the way to get all mad to throw him the wet shower. He'll do it for you.
I just think some of it sounds so dramatic. Like when she like this next one.
It's Reddit. It's supposed to be dramatic.
Question: why don't I leave it the way I found it? Why don't you leave it up if he leaves it up? Answer: if I left things the way I found, or if I left things the way I found them, I would live in a pigsty. I would also spend a great deal of energy making things messier, as I would literally be cleaning up to make space for myself and then undoing that work to put things back as a mess. See, that so works in the context of a mess, but this is a lever.
Right, so it's not just the lever. That's just the one that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
it's a whole pile of stuff that he's doing.
And I am inclined to agree with her on this one. There are some people that, like, if you leave things the way they are, nothing's going to click in their head and be like, oh, wow, this is a mess.
Does it remind you of maybe an ex-roommate?
Yeah.
We won't mention any names because he might be listening.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Just.
Well, it reminds me of myself a little bit.
Oh, too. Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was thinking about.
Thankfully, I'm a lot better about at least that aspect now, keeping things clean and tidy.
Yeah, you were terrible as a kid.
Oh, I was awful as a kid.
Yep. And I think it's funny when somebody does to you and you start complaining about it. They're like, shh.
Well, I was a kid, so that's like my free card.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about your luck, buddy.
I'm calling the shots right here.
In your dreams. Okay. This one's from Confessions.
Oh.
I got ghosted. I feel like it's karma.
Oh.
Yeah.
Karma.
I stopped.
We like a little self-reflection.
Yeah, it's not called karma. Politically correct now. It's self-reflection. Karma is way too rough of a terminology nowadays. All right. So it says I stopped texting my long distance boyfriend around the time my aunt's cancer got worse and she died. I always answered his calls and gave him space when he asked for space. Considered my offer of an open relation. What?
That was not a turn I was expecting to
No.
take this quickly.
Yeah. I always answered his calls and gave him space when he asked for space.
This took so many twisted turns. First, we're talking about ghosting. I assumed it was like someone she met on a dating app or
Right.
something, and then
Right
we're talking
into
about
karma.
we're talking about dead ants,
Right.
And then now we're talking about an open relationship.
relationship,
That never goes well.
No.
Newsflash.
Yeah. So I always answered his calls and gave him space when he asked for space. Considered his offer of an open relationship. I was considerate in that relationship up till that point.
Oh, he's the one that asked for.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. I thought she was at.
Well,
Okay.
we'll see. Maybe we're wrong. We'll keep going here.
All right.
I was just going through a lot. I love my aunt dearly, so it was pretty bad, and I feel like I would definitely have told him what was up if I could do it again. But you know, loss is hard. It's long distance too. I couldn't come over and explain myself anymore. I moved away. It wasn't ghosting in the dramatic sense where I didn't respond to him and left him in the dark. He never really texted me back, or he never called me. I just didn't respond for a while, and then when I reached out after a few long weeks, he wasn't willing to talk anymore. Anyway, after my boyfriend radio silenced me, he posted pics of another girl. I sort of met someone. They ghosted me, blocked me on everything. We lived close to each other, saw each other often, always talked for a long time, calling or texting all through the night, every other night. Told him about my abuse as well as my sexual assault. Something I hadn't told anyone. Something I was planning on never telling anyone. This person made me believe in people again. We went on long trips together. Slept together, cried together. He was there for me, and I did everything I could to be there for him too. It's weird because he's the first person to make me feel seen in a very long time. So we were friends. We're very obviously more than friends. He had a history of ghosting, and he'd been ghosting by a few friends too. We always acted like he had it all together, but he was a recovering addict, had really bad relationship or dishonest relationships outside of the ones he had at church. And the one he had with me, he talked circles around how we wouldn't ghost each other. He talked circles about not ghosting me, but he did anyway. I strongly believe in karma. I know it's probably just another product of him not knowing how to break his cycle of ghosting people. I was wondering if this karma would come around. I don't think my boyfriend really loved me, and I think he loves the idea that really does hurt, and it especially does hurt different when someone ghosts you. So that's pretty extra little punch in the gut. Maybe I deserved it. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. Nobody deserves to get ghosted.
Yeah. It sucks. It sucks. It's very prevalent.
Yeah, there's
for people my age.
Yeah. And you know what? It's not just your age. I mean, everybody does it.
Yeah.
I'm sure, as much as I don't like to think about it, I'm sure I've probably been guilty of ghosting once in a while.
Yeah.
But that was probably before we called it ghosting. I think everybody does it. It's not right, no matter who you are, what age group you're in.
I still think if you were going to go no contact with your boyfriend and stuff, you should at least set like a little thing explaining why.
Like, hey, man, I didn't mean to do this, but I was mad and couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. Something.
Even if...
still messed up that he decided to, post... probably not a person you want to be with anyways if their reaction is going to be just posting pictures of another girl and whatnot.
This sounds like she lost the friends, too.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That is tough.
You know, But you know what? If they ghost you, then they're not really your friends.
That's true too. Yep.
Yep.
True colors.
True colors are not black
True
and white.
colors. Am I the asshole?
For laughing? Probably.
Oh, the title's funny.
Yeah, what's the title?
My wife is super pissed off.
Well, that's usually the ones that you call wife.
I have been married for 5 years with my wife, who I've met nearly 10 years ago. The thing is, she loves traveling a lot, and she loves traveling on the date of her birthday. Last year, we went to Brazil and had a great time. In May, we had a month-long travel to Europe. Wow.
Must be nice.
Where we visited some Greek islands, Athens, a bunch of Spanish cities, and Paris. Her birthday is in a few days, and we had some long talks about traveling. Europe left us in debt. Not surprised.
Yeah.
A month-long trip to Europe and all those different places.
I couldn't afford to take a month off from work, let alone going to another country.
Spain and Greece are literally opposite sides of each other on Europe. So that's not simple traveling.
Talk about going to extremes.
Yeah. And in the same trip, too. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, go big or go home. Or go big and go home.
Europe left us in debt, and some health issues left us with almost no savings. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Also, we want to have children this year, and we need some medical assistance for that. That also costs money. I told her that maybe this year we cannot afford to travel anywhere. She didn't like it, but she agreed. But it turns out a few days ago, she snapped. She's now super angry that she's staying home for her birthday, that it doesn't matter what we discussed. She never said she didn't want to travel, and that me as her husband should know what she wants for her birthday, and should have known that she wanted to travel either way, and surprised her with some tickets. So, oh my gosh.
Can we say needy much?
I really don't know how to diffuse the situation. I offered to buy some last-minute tickets anywhere, but now she doesn't want to because she said I'd just be doing it because she forced me. Am I an asshole? God, no. Oh, my gosh.
Sometimes priorities have to take precedence.
Yeah. If
that's what you guys discussed.
Yeah. If you guys want children and you've discussed the financial need that you're going to need to have children.
If you want children, you might as well forget traveling for the rest of their natural lives.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to... You're
lucky to leave.
20s. You're lucky to leave the state.
You're lucky to leave the house. My Lord, it's expensive. I don't care where you go. Kids are outrageously expensive. I mean, we just got glasses for 3 kids.
Oh, really?
Out of the 4, I mean, out of 6 of us, 5 of us have glasses.
Yeah, glasses are not cheap either.
Right. So, I get mine separately from theirs anyway.
Mm-hmm. So
out of those 5, only 3 of them got glasses, and we spent $1,200 just for glasses.
Holy! That tracks.
And they didn't really get that. I mean, it really wasn't extravagant glasses. So, yeah, you might as well just figure if you want, it's either kids or big travel. You're not gonna be able to do both unless you're got lots of money.
I think I spent $350 on my glasses.
I spent almost $800.
Oh my gosh!
But
you have a bunch of extra stuff though.
Well, I have 2 pair. I have regular glasses and sunglasses.
Oh, okay.
And then I have progressive lenses in both of them, and progressive lenses are very expensive.
So it wasn't that you spent $800 on 2 pairs of glasses.
It was like I'm gonna say it was like $750 or something like that.
Oh.
But my sunglasses, I didn't get new frames. I got to use my old frames.
Oh, nice.
So I just gave them my frames, and they put new lenses in my frames. And if I had to get new frames, it would have been even more.
Dang.
Yeah. So.
No, I don't think you guys discussed it, and she agreed to it. So
Right.
it was unwarranted for her to snap like that, especially at you. You didn't do anything wrong. It's not like
You were following the plan.
it's not like you promised her tickets and then suddenly was like, "Well, hon, I don't think we're going to have the money for your birthday travel." No, you didn't do any of that. You guys sat down and you're like, "Look, if we want to do these things, we can't spend the money on these things."
Right.
But
But my question is they didn't do anything. Did he do something for her birthday though? Because I don't remember if you'd said something about. I just know they were supposed to. She was mad because he didn't get like expensive tickets, but
yeah, well, cuz they discussed staying home and doing something for her birthday
okay.
instead of traveling.
Well,
and
my
stuff.
question is, did he do that though?
It doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
I'd assume so.
But if he didn't, that'd be a good reason to be mad.
Yeah, but that's not what she's mad about.
Well,
She's mad
yeah.
about that he didn't get her tickets to travel.
It's like, here's a ticket to Greyhound. There you go.
Look, here's a ticket to the train station, Take a ride.
Take you down to the train station. This is not Yellowstone. Don't do that.
Yeah, she does sound like she's being a little unreasonable, a little bit.
A little bit of a Karen.
Yeah, but it's also equally as bad that he gave in to her and was like, I asked her, I'm gonna buy last minute tickets.
You know
for her
what,
and
though?
Stuff. Like,
You're not in a relationship. I probably would have done the same thing he did.
yeah, I mean, still though.
I would have found like, look, we talked about this, and you said no. Or not you, but we agreed that we weren't going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You want to scratch that? You want to go someplace? Okay, fine. Let's go someplace.
But that means we're scratching this. This other thing.
But you know what? That's not going to happen. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, we're putting a hat on that. Sorry.
Classic woman.
Don't say that.
No, I'm kidding.
Don't say that. Okay. Am I the asshole for involving myself and angering the new neighbors?
Oh,
How comes I always pull the
I was
asshole
gonna
neighbor
say.
ones?
I was gonna say you always get the neighbor ones.
Why? How did I do that? I don't know.
You're just a professional.
Well, I don't know about all that. Okay, I, 33 female, live in a cul-de-sac with 5 other houses on the street. 3 of those houses have motorcycles. Now, I must say, the bikers are really respectful of noise. One gets home late and one leaves early, and they walk their bikes to the end of the road before they start them up, so they don't disturb the gaggle of young children in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, you'll see the bikers giving kids ride around the circle. All in all, fantastic neighbors.
I'm waiting for the butt.
On to the issue.
Okay, here we go.
Recently, the only empty house on the street was bought by a young family. Mom and Dad looks to be in their early to mid-20s, and the kids look to be maybe 3 or 5. Mom started making a fuss the moment they moved in over the bikes.
Oh, not entitled neighbors.
They're too loud. They shouldn't have these bikes around such young children, young kids. And finally, they keep waking my kids up in the middle of the night. Most of us ignored them until they yelled at my neighbor for driving through at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. He was driving under the speed limit, and he was making the normal amount of noise.
Sounds like pretty responsible bikers, to be honest.
Yeah, who the hell would push their bike down to the end of the club?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have done that shit.
No, nobody.
I'd been like-
no,
I probably wouldn't have drove my bike, but
and like, shouldn't you have known? Like,
not when you move into a new house.
no, I mean, wouldn't you see the bikes?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, that's
Most of
fair.
them keep them in the garage, or they.
Yeah, that's true. But like, you can't just walk into a new neighborhood and just start like messing up the natural ecosystem. You're on the bottom of the food chain.
You're at the low seniority, buddy.
Yep.
Yep.
The good thing is, because they're newer neighbors and stuff, everybody else who's already lived there is not going to listen
No.
to them at all, hopefully.
I was outside when she started walking toward him and his bike, screaming about the bikes and horrible neighbors. I got up, walked over, and yelled back yelled back that she moved into our neighborhood and she could clearly see the bikes when they were viewing the house.
Ha!
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
She turned on me, yelling at me I was a monster for allowing kids near the death
Good
trap.
Lord.
And it was ridiculous that I hadn't complained yet. I told her she was I told her she was a crazy bitch. and to stay off both of our properties. That she and her family could keep themselves and could and could go suck a cactus.
Nice.
She won't so much as look at me now, but one of our neighbors said that I was being a dick, that it was a hell of a way to welcome them to the community. I feel bad now because I hate to speak to people like that.
Sounds like they were asking for it.
Oh, no, give them both barrels. And you know what? Shame on the neighbor for saying that about him. The other guy says, well, that's a poor way to... You know what? She introduced herself in a very bad way.
She did, yeah.
So she got what she dished out. I mean, that's just part of it. It's karma.
Karma.
It bites. It bites. But good for you for defending your neighbor.
True that.
You know, and it sounds like she's not just a crazy, but she might be a little bit of a Karen,
You
too.
could have gotten such worse biker neighbors, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Or honestly, people who are just really into vehicles in general. I mean, you've heard those guys that like pull up in neighborhoods at like 3 a.m, revving their car. Oh, sorry. I mean you.
Yeah. Hey, I used to do that when I was a kid. I didn't do that now.
Blasting their terrible music.
Oh, no, you couldn't hear my music. The bass was so high that you didn't hear the words anyway.
I sound like one of those geezers. Get off my lawn.
I'm on the sidewalk, you old fart. Yeah. No, I was probably just like that. I mean, I could have easily... But you know what? When I had my system in my truck and stuff,
Yeah.
when I pulled on my street, I didn't live in a cul-de-sac, nor did I live on a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
But especially at night, when I pulled onto my street, I turned all my stuff off. I had switches. It's a flip of the switch. It killed all the power to all the system, so it was just like a regular radio. And that's how I would come in at night because at that time I had kids too, and I didn't want to wake my kids up.
Oh yeah.
And I had neighbors, and as much as I could have been a dick, there's no sense of being a dick to my neighbors.
No.
So, you know, I mean, yeah, this lady could have gotten the ones that like to rev their stuff up at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Rattling the walls and stuff. But you know what? At that kind of response, I'd be cutting off my muffler. Yep. I'd be like, sorry, I'm trying to tune it, you know.
Might be a few hours.
Right.
A few weeks.
Right.
You
3
know?
o'clock in the morning comes off early. Hey, I'm up. You should be too.
Yep. They got roosters in the country, bikes in the city.
Yep. Cockle doodle doo to you. Oh, and, you know, I never thought of it that way, but that's exactly true. In the country, you have roosters, and them suckers never shut up.
No, they don't.
That's why I refuse to have one. Because I'd shoot the SOB. I'm glad my neighbors are quiet.
Am I the asshole for agreeing with my mom that it's kind of pathetic my wife can't cook?
Ooh, don't tell her that.
Based on the title, that just seems like really mean.
Well, but you know what? If she can't cook and she knows it, then it's not really being mean.
It doesn't make you pathetic though.
It doesn't make it. It does not make you pathetic.
That just seems like a bad choice of words.
It's just you know you're supposed to uplift and support.
Yeah.
Tell the
Not
truth.
tear down. Tell the truth. All right. I, 28 male, have been married to my wife, 31 female, for about a year. Overall, things are great. But one thing that's been bugging me
He
is
said
that
overall.
yeah, no. Context clues. But one thing that's been bugging me is that my wife doesn't know how to cook at all. I've always been the one to handle meals, which I was fine with in the beginning because I enjoy cooking. But over time, it started to wear on me, especially when I come home after a long day at work and still have to cook dinner, and she relaxes. She refuses to cook and claims there is nothing wrong with not being able to cook. It's been an ongoing issue between us, and I have been trying to teach her, but she is really bad at it. And we've had many conversations about this.
Purposely or accidentally on purpose.
My thing is, if you knew you wanted somebody who'd cook, why marry someone who doesn't know how to cook?
Yeah, but you know
I know
what,
it's such a
though?
little
That
thing,
is a
but
little thing.
but if you're gonna make such a big deal out of it, obviously it's more important than you make it out to be.
Yeah, but you're talking about. I mean, it's all about choices.
It is,
right.
you know?
She's not a terrible cook. She just doesn't want to cook. Therefore, she's not putting the effort into it. Right. If she made the choice, she could probably at least be mediocre.
My thing is would she, if she's the type of person like me, there are a lot of times where I don't feel like cooking, and where I'll make like a gourmet, or I won't, I'll pull out like a frozen meal and stuff, I mean, as long as she's not complaining like, oh, why haven't you cooked and stuff, or like, why haven't you done this? If she's fine with like mediocre like frozen meals or just throwing something in the microwave,
it's hard to mess up goulash or chili.
I'm just saying, I don't see the big deal if unless she's complaining like, oh, why aren't you cooking, or like, why isn't dinner? She just
refuses to do it.
The other night, my mom, 56 female, came over for dinner. As usual, I was in the kitchen preparing everything, and my wife was sitting with my mom. Another note too is like, even if you're not the one cooking, there's always stuff that you can help with in the kitchen too, because a lot of times there's a lot of different things going on. Dishes, you can like clean the dishes, or you can cut up the vegetables and stuff,
you don't have to be able to cook to do that.
While your husband's cooking the steak or the main course, you can work on like the side dishes, which typically in my experience are pretty easy to do.
And it helps reinforce the relationship when you do that.
It does, yeah, it's good for both of you. It's just like a win-win.
For sure.
Anyways, at one point my mom offered help, and I asked if she could make the gravy or cut some fruit. My wife was standing around in the kitchen when my mom handed her a knife and asked her to cut some fruit while she handled the gravy. My wife couldn't figure out how to hold it properly and ended up making a mess. My mom watched her fail to cut the fruit and then blurted out, "It's honestly kind of pathetic that you don't even know how to cut a piece of fruit at your age."
She said that, or the husband said that?
Her mom said that.
His mom said that.
Yeah, his mom said, the husband's mom said that. She then went behind her and started to guide her on how to cut stuff like you do with a kid. My wife kind of shrugged and finished cutting her fruit. With my mom guiding her, dinner happens, and I noticed my wife is not happy the whole night.
No, because she'd been just treated like a kid.
Yeah.
That wasn't the right way to handle it.
No, that was not the right way to handle it. I'm so on the fence because, there are certain actions and responses that are warranted. It's not like she's like, I'm not cutting that. Or, I'm not. She took the knife and tried cutting it.
But her body action, her body response said that she was, no, I'm not doing this shit.
My mom left, and she was pissed. I don't think he means the mom. I think
the wife.
I think he means the wife. And she was pissed I didn't defend her, that I embarrassed her by letting it happen. We got into a bad argument, and I told her that it is pathetic. She cannot even cut fruit. She is literally older than me and can't hold a knife properly. She told me that is not the point, and I needed to defend her, and it's not her fault. She is bad at cooking. I point out it is, and she is embarrassed because not being able to hold a knife properly is embarrassing for an adult. My wife thinks I am a huge jerk. And then there is an edit. I cannot keep up with 2,000 comments, and I have things to do. If you have an info, may already be answered in a previous comment. So update, I definitely think this is weaponized incompetence. I will suggest marriage counseling and cooking classes. If things don't change, I will be out, and I will make this very clear. Also, for those asking, it was strawberries. She was smushing them and cutting them with the stem still on.
Well, he's not completely wrong, but
I feel like to a degree.
I feel like he was more of an asshole about it than she was.
Yeah.
Right? Because she may not be able to cook. I was not ever taught to cook.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. There for a while, I'd had a hard time making something simple as toast.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not the fact that I wasn't embarrassed the fact that I couldn't cook. I just didn't want to cook.
Yeah.
But now I understand that, no, I'm not a very good cook, but I can easily help out and reinforce that relationship with my better half by doing nothing more than cutting fruit, slicing meat, right?
Stirring the pot.
Well, I do that, and I stir the food as well.
Yeah.
But, he didn't really defend her, and I get that part of it. But by calling her pathetic actually makes him the asshole.
Yeah.
Whether she's doing it on purpose or not, I couldn't tell because I wasn't there.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have to see it to know if it was weaponized incompetence.
I'm sure that there's probably a lot more context that was left out, and that might be the case. She might, but, from what he said, even though his mom was correcting her, she still did it.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it's because, they made her feel like shit.
I don't know. I feel like if it was weaponized incompetence and stuff, I feel like that type of person at the point that the mom's like, oh, this is pathetic, they would have just stopped right there.
Yeah,
and
at some point in time, you just drop the knife and say, no,
yeah,
you guys do it then. Fuck,
yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, but she kept trying to do it.
Well, she was embarrassed.
Well, yeah, but still.
But who knows? She may never been taught.
Yeah.
I was never taught.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The thing that I was taught is how to tear my bike apart.
I know he also said that he would attempt to show her out how to do it. Maybe he's a shitty teacher.
Could be. I mean, I have a hard time teaching people.
Yeah, maybe you're not the type of teacher that she needs for some. Cooking can be very delicate.
Yes.
And it can be you have to have a lot of patience and very tedious.
Yep.
And slight miscalculation, and you can
screw up
everything. So
I agree.
I think you have to be very careful, especially if you're teaching someone how to cook too. And he might be one of those helicopter teachers that's oh, that's not right.
Well, he might also be trying to create. I mean, it didn't sound like they were doing anything fancy, but
yeah,
start with something. Start teaching her with something simple, fruit salad.
Yeah.
Right?
Throwing chicken on the in a pan or something.
But just by giving her some fruits and vegetables to cut up and put in a bowl. Right?
Mm-hmm.
She don't do it right. No, hold on. Because that's not quite working. Let me show you. And try this out and see how this works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hey, that works great. And go on from there. But if you say, this is you're pathetic.
Yeah, that's
dude. They're not
going
to ever try to learn. They're not even going to pay attention because you done insulted them, and now you're basically bullying them to the point they don't even want to learn.
Yeah,
they don't even care. And you just
they just want to get
anyway.
it over with as fast as possible and
exactly
get out of the situation.
So, yes, you are the asshole for not teaching your wife. And yes, you should have stuck up for her against your mom, but not necessarily because she did teach her, show her, so that was good. But by calling her names and calling her stuff like that,
that was uncalled for.
that was uncalled for.
That one's kind of messy.
Yeah, that
as
one.
a
Yeah,
whole,
there's
but-
not enough. There's not enough context to make a good call on that.
Everyone seems kind of shitty for different reasons in that one.
Yep. Yep. I mean, and you know what? Some people it depends on how they said it. She was pathetic. Like, that's kind of pathetic. You can't hold a knife. Like, but if you file and say, here, let me show you, try this out for size. It's the way that you handle after that. I mean, really, you should never use the word pathetic to anybody because you don't know. I mean, she could have easily asked the question, say, hey, were you ever taught how to cook? You're like, well, no. Okay, well, then here, let me show you.
Mm-hmm. That's like if the mom, you're like telling her to hammer a nail into like a wood board and she's doing it wrong.
Here's
You're
a
like,
motor block. Set the pistons.
Yeah. you know?
What? What is that? That's the motor block. Set the pistons. You're pathetic. You don't know how to set a piston?
You don't know how to hammer a nail into
Right.
like a piece of wood? Well, that's kind of pathetic.
Right, see?
Like,
I mean, that's my point, though. It's not necessarily...
no, it's not pathetic. You just haven't been shown how to do it.
Right. I mean, how often does most girls are usually taught to cook, but maybe the wife's mom couldn't cook either.
Yeah, maybe it was the dad who
Right.
did the cooking and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that family might be the way they were wired. It's not her fault. Unless she's doing it on purpose. And the only people that know that is her.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. So, with all that fun stuff,
All that smooth
jazz, all that internet drama, gets my blood pumping in the afternoon. And Corey and I would love to thank you for staying to the end of this conversation. And sticking around to the end we're just tickled pink that you did that.
Heck yeah.
Yep. We hope you've enjoyed it. I know we have. And we plan on being back next week for the final episode of season 1.
Yeah.
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 So that ought to be cool. So we will see you next week for more conversation. We probably won't be a lot of conversation. We're probably going to try to figure out what we're going to do for our final episode. We were talking about we were going to do some dad jokes and some other stuff. Maybe go over the season. That might be
Recap.
Yeah, we might just do a recap. We may not do or we'll just take the best from the best. Maybe we'll go back and take a few things that we
Best
liked.
hits.
Yeah. For our last episode of this season.
Yeah.
Remember, you can follow, share, comment, send us checks to not the last one. At Break Up the Daily Grind on Facebook, YouTube, and we are on Spotify and Audible and a few other major platforms.
Oh yeah.
And not so major platforms. Please feel free to leave us a comment. We like hearing from you. We would love to hear your dad jokes. We would love to broadcast your dedication to the people that you appreciate in your life. It don't have to be dads. It could be, we don't even care if you dedicate one to your dog. We're just happy that you're doing dedications.
Oh yeah.
Yep, because we love to hear from you. Without you, it wouldn't be much point, would there? So, with all that, I think now we will leave you with this thought of the week.
An early morning walk is a blessing for the whole day. Henry David Thoreau.
Works for me. And with that, we will see you next time.
Later.
Skaters.
Later, skater.